I'm just going to have the giggles. All right, everyone. But at least we're all here, and it's May the 6th of 2020. And what an interesting time we are having. My goodness gracious. And so we don't have a lot of time together. You know, I do this once a month for all of us to connect in and see how we're doing and really talk. I mean, clearly at this time with this pandemic, Nikken is growing, you know, because people's awareness of health is growing and the need to self-care is growing. And so as weird and wild and woolly and strange as it all is right now, I would say as an entrepreneur too, not to make good of ill times, but to really say we have something that can truly help people and people's awareness is growing. And that's always when we're looking for people to help and to work with as well, to team up with, we do want to have people that are really entrepreneurially spirited, but looking for us. You know, they're looking for us, and then we're there to sort of facilitate that connection. And of course, we go out to look for them too. So it's a two-way street. But fundamentally, the joy of Nikken and the joy of building a team with Nikken, which, you know, this call's really about as an entrepreneur, is really when that connection happens. When you're out there looking and they're out there looking and you find each other and you're like, woohoo, you know, and they're so excited they found you and you're so excited you found them. And so I was thinking about this and going, well, this is really exciting. And obviously our technologies speak to self-care on all levels. And we have new products just came out and everything like that. It's so exciting. But, you know, what is it that really makes an entrepreneur successful in Nikken is really another sort of vibratory level of vision. It's not just that the products work and they're fantastic, and they are. I mean, they are fabulous. I had a guy the other day, he said, tell me more about the water. And I gave him the Pi water book, which I had right there. And I was like, take a look at this, because he's really smart and scientific. And then instantly he went and got a system. You know, he's like, I've been meaning to do this for so long. And it's right here. So it was just one of those easy meetings, right? And then I had this other friend the other day who called and said, you know, my wife's going through problems and we used to be consultants, and what do you think? And it was just taking care of, first of all, how are you feeling and what's going on and all that, and really the emotional connection. And then, you know, at the end of the call, I said, well, I think this, and this would really help. And so, you know, he said, great, I want to get those things. And that, you know, that was over $1,000 order. But it was flowing. It was easy. It wasn't like trying to pull teeth, right? It was just like he had a need for his wife, and it was a connection. And he called out of the blue and was like, you know, can you help? Can you help me? Can you help us? And I'm like, yes, I think I can. Yes. And so it was beautiful like that. Does it always happen like that? No. And what I see for the people that really go after things, you know, and it's the same with Gaia, exactly. And this is why it's so interesting to me, is like, they see a value and an opportunity, and they get really thrilled about it. And they just want to take that out in a graceful manner, not go beat people over the head with it, but really share their light with the world and say, this is something I have found and I think it's amazing, you know. And so I was on the Shift Network the other day, and the Shift Network is a great network, and I've enjoyed doing classes with them and all kinds of things, mostly the female mystics and shamanism and things like that I love. And they ask a question. So this is the question I wanted to ask you, and then talk more about these characteristics of entrepreneurs and how does this apply. And the question just was very simple. But I put it out in a few places and got a lot of responses. What is your, and I'm kind of rephrasing what they said, but what is your post-pandemic vision for our world? What is your post-pandemic vision for our world? And you know, the variety of responses I got when I put this into a couple of different groups, I actually haven't put it into our group yet, but I think I will. I just haven't done that yet. Is it's like across the board, like, wow, so paradoxical. Some people are like, it's just going to be awful and terrible, and all that scary stuff, and militaristic, and I'm sure some of you are well aware there's a lot going down about, are we going to have mandatory vaccines and all that, and it is scary. And so some of people were focused on that, and other people were like, it's going to be a golden age, a new dawn, far more love, far more connection. And so I was reading all these comments, and I was like, wow, what do I really believe? Like, it throws you back on yourself, and I felt like, well, I think there's a little paradox going on, because I think a lot of darkness is being unearthed, and I don't know that that's just going to go away in a second. I think it's really unearthing to be seen, so we can awaken to some of the darker intentions on this planet. However, my choice and focus is the golden age, the new dawn, the awakening, the love, the peace. And we see that that's happening in a very powerful way, that the more, and I wrote a poem about it, I put it on Facebook, it's on a little video now. I put it just the point of saying, the more this physical distancing, the more social connection is happening. And that's a good thing. So the more we are told to stay at home and not connect, the more Zoom's gone, bonkers, right? Zoom is just like, they can't keep up with all the work, because we're connecting. And it's interesting, children are connecting with their parents more than they would normally. I'm talking about grown-up children, and little children are there with their families more, because they're not at play school, or they're not at, school. And so there's this either forced or choice of connection. But people are realizing we actually really need each other, and to not be able to hug somebody is a little traumatic to us, especially to me. I love hugging. I've always loved hugging all my life, which is why Nikken's always suited me very well, and it's hard. So I think as difficult as it is, it's pointing us in great directions. Nature's recovering herself, thank goodness, and we see it fast, and we say, wow, if we just stopped some of the stuff we're doing, nature would be fine. It just shows how strong our planet is and how quickly she can recover. But this social connection and looking at our values, and wow, haven't eaten out for a long time. Saving money, actually feel better because I'm eating from, my own home cooking, kind of a thing, right? People are noticing that. And it's so interesting. So I want you to really ponder this question. Oh, that's lovely, Lorraine. Thank you. Yeah, she says, where else can we get together early in the morning on a rainy day and see 10 smiling faces and have this conversation feeling blessed? Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. I agree. But then how do we relate this to being an entrepreneur? How do we connect this? And my feeling about it is the higher our vibration and vision. So our vibration is higher because we have a good vision of our world and hope. And people are needing hope desperately, and we can bring it, but not just with the products. We can bring it with our vibration of what we see this world can be after this pandemic time is over, because it is such a time of reevaluation, such a time for every single one of us to go, how have I been living, and has it made me happy, and is the way I'm doing it now? I mean, I'm talking to old friends I haven't talked to in years. I mean, friends from boarding school when I was 10 years old. How are you doing? Are you all right? And some of them are doing great, and some of them aren't, and some of them have lost people. And, it's a variety, but we're coming together, and we're realizing we're very interdependent. So some of these characteristics of entrepreneurialism, and how do we kind of map these two together? I wanted to touch on these because I had a beautiful talk with Louis Kasuga the other day, just so lovely. And I told him that his call that he had done, one of his calls with Dave Johnson, I was really touched with the story of Nikken and how it was a startup, and the risks, and the bottom out, and then the rising again from the ashes that Nikken has taken. And he talked about all that, and then he talked about these characteristics. The characteristic, he had 7 characteristics of successful startups, which was more about the you know, the company itself and you know, how that's not an easy thing. But I want to focus on this part, which was the 9 characteristics of entrepreneurs that he spoke about, that I wrote down and have pondered. And we're all going to be good at some of them. And we all are not going to be so great at some of them. And that's all right, because you want to focus on the things you're good at always, and then you can bolster the other ones. So think about this and how it applies to your vision for the post-pandemic vision for our world. And then we'll talk about it. The first is motivation. You've got to be motivated as an entrepreneur. You should take something and say, wow, this is it. I love it. I want to take this to the world. And with Nikken, how could we not be motivated? I mean, it's such incredible technologies that nobody has and everybody needs. An incredible company, a way to be self-employed, you know, work for yourself, and not be told what to do by other, you know, it's just phenomenal, and great income to be made as you build. And it takes time to build that. You know, of course, you have to be patient and learn about, you know, not that instant gratification thing. Although you can get it when you have $1,000 order and you're like, that's exciting because, you know, you get a nice retail bonus. Motivation is absolutely critical. And then creativity. How can we be more creative, especially in today's world? You know, how can we really leverage online far better? And, you know, I think it's happening in a wonderful way with Nikken. It's so exciting. So creativity, you know, oh, I'm not creative. Well, yes, you are. In some way, shape or form, you are, because creativity crosses the map, and it could be anything from the way you make the bed to the way you sew masks for people to the way you cook a dinner to, you know, all of that. Here's okay, I'm going to let this in. I'm not sure this is just a number. So, okay. And then persuasiveness. Now, this is a tricky one, and especially for women, I think persuasiveness isn't easy to grapple with. It's like, I don't want to persuade people, but your very being is persuading anyway. On any given day, you're persuading to a joyful state or a sad state or a victim state, or, you know, you're persuading in some way, shape or form, just simply by being. So I would look at that, and we can revisit that one, because I do think that's sort of tricky, because women don't want to hit people over the head with Nikken or with entrepreneurialism. They want to invite. And so how to be persuasive in an inviting, compelling way, but yet we need to be persuasive. Vision, like vision. And we talk about this all the time, that vision is so important. You know, vision is really, really important. And so we're going to, you know, really think about how are we cultivating our vision? Are we cultivating it, and are we cultivating it consistently? Because vision is something that doesn't stay static. It's not I got a vision. I mean, sometimes you get a vision as a child and you say, that vision, I'm going to accomplish that vision. But generally, vision will shift and morph and change to some degree, although there will be key elements that will always be the same. Like, I have a vision of a loving world. I have a vision of a joyful world. I have a vision of a healthy world. Those things are very deep values, and they will stay. So, versatility. Are we versatile? How are we versatile? How does that work for us? And you know, versatility could mean on many, many levels. But versatility of who are you working with? And is it bringing you joy? Are you having fun with that person or those people? And if not, is the versatility, you know, you can choose in this business who you work with. And I've always loved that autonomy, that we have that autonomy. You don't have to work with your sponsor. You don't have to work with somebody in your upline you should work with. I mean, cross-line we do work, but it's really behooves you to work with your upline. But you got to find the person you resonate with and have a joyful experience with, right? So versatility of how do you show Nikken to others? Do you start with the business? Do you start with the products? Do you start with the vision? Well, you're going to need to be versatile according to the person that's in front of you. You know, that $1,000 order came because it was somebody concerned very much about a physical issue. And you know, it was like, I was right there with the physical elements of what Nikken can bring. But somebody else, it could have been very different. Could be somebody who's like, I don't know what to do. I've just lost my job. And you know, I've got to find something new. And then I'm going to talk about business, you know, or somebody else is just like, I don't think I'm on course with my life. I don't think I'm on course with my destiny. Somehow I got off trail and I want to get back on trail. And then I'm going to talk about you and your destiny and your vision of this world. And can Nikken be a fit for you? And thank goodness that Nikken is so versatile itself, you know, with our 5 pillars of wellness. Yeah. So versatility is, you know, we can use that in a lot of ways. Do we work online now more than offline because we need to? Then great, let's do that. If you're in a chatty place, I haven't muted anybody, so and I don't really want to. So I'm now going to run through this, and I'm going to want your thoughts on it for you. Risk tolerance. Risk tolerance is a big one. Risk tolerant people who won't risk will you know, really safety oriented, just won't take a risk on being an entrepreneur at all. So you can kind of know that and know that you just by being in Nikken, you have a healthy risk tolerance. And what is your risk tolerance, and what do you count on yourself to create, you know, because Nikken's there for us, and then are we creating with it? So it is a very creative business. As an entrepreneur, you have to be creative. And so what is your risk tolerance? And you know, everybody has a different risk tolerance. And it will change through your life as well. You'll go through phases of different, you know, elements of you'll take higher risks, you'll take less risks, depending, you know, on your health and your well-being and your circumstances. Flexibility. Are we flexible? It's a little similar to versatility. So I don't think I'm going to go too much into that. But one thing to say on flexibility is just something that comes up to me is if you're working hard and it's not happening, you might want to talk to your upline or your mentor, say, you know, this is what I'm doing and this is the order in which I'm doing it, and I stay the same with that every time, or I change it up, but it's not happening. So what would you advise? And then to really take some advice and really say, okay, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that different way. And that's also being flexible. So not being fixed in how you have to think you have to do Nikken. Collaborative is incredibly important in our business, incredibly important. We need to be collaborative with each other. And that's the beauty of Nikken, is we do all collaborate very well, generally speaking. And that's why it's so lovely that we can work with Crossline and that we do enjoy that. And it's a wonderful thing. So I think collaboration is probably one of the most key points, and women are very good at collaboration, and they collaborate a lot more than they compete. So, you know, if you get into a situation where you feel you have to be competitive, a lot of times for women, they'll shut down. But if they know they can be collaborative and everybody co-creative together, then they're usually pretty happy, because we are naturally more that way. We're built more that way. Now, that doesn't mean women can't be competitive. Of course, we have women athletes and you know, get something happening there. And so of course you can be competitive if that's what you want, be competitive. But what I would suggest is be competitive with yourself, but don't compete with others. Because there's no need to compete with other people in this business, but it is fun to compete with yourself and see what can you do. You know, how many people could you bring in? How many retail sales could you have this week? You know, what, just playing that fun game, because that helps you have goals and goals just to go for. And then decisiveness is another one. So these are the 9 characteristics. Decisiveness. So have you made a decision to go forward? And that's a really, really powerful one. And that's usually something that we know humans being more training really helps us with, is to get very clear about our lives, and we reflect on the past and what's worked and what hasn't, and we're here in the now, and we're looking to the future and what do we want to create, and then we make some clear decisions about, I'm going to stop doing this because this is what I want. I'm going to not do it that way anymore because actually I really want this, and I'm going to change it up, and I'm making a decision. And that decision, you know, that word means to cut off other possibilities. You know, it actually means sort of to kill, to slice, to cut off. So it's interesting. It's like you cut off other paths in order to do that path that you're choosing. And for a lot of it, there's, you know, we're busy, we're family, you know, we have Lucy as a little kid, you know, it's like we have other things we're doing, but still there's an element of that decisiveness of, no, I'm going to do this, and then this is why, and I know why. And you know, ultimately, I think it comes back to that vision. You know, what is our vision? And I had a beautiful talk with somebody the other day, and it was just about that. And that's really what has moved me to make this call about this is we were really talking about vision in the world and what we really want for the world. And we really came down to this issue of freedom, that we, you know, that we both felt we want people to have freedom. Lorraine's laughing there. We want people to have freedom. And that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, it's a political stance or a social stance of a certain way, or, you know, a philosophical, it's just, we want people to have sovereignty of being. And that the top people in Nikken have always really focused on freedom. And you will find that if you ask the top people, like, what motivated you to do this in the first place? It was, I wanted freedom for my own life, but then I wanted freedom for others' lives, you know? And so as I saw that I could help others have freedom and open up the Pandora's box and really open it, you know, to having a great life, I saw that then I could have a great life. And that was just a wonderful sort of win-win idea. So this is important, I think. So let's just hear from you. Those are your 9. I'm going to recap quick. Motivation, creativity. Please write them down if you've got a pen and paper. Persuasiveness, vision, versatility, risk tolerance, flexibility, collaborative, and decisiveness. 9 characteristics of entrepreneurs. And which ones are you strong in? And then maybe there's some that we just aren't and we need support with, we need help with. I'm going to just say this, persuasiveness, it can be tricky. However, if you do a 3-way call, and you say, I'm not really good at persuasion. You do a 3-way call and you have the right person on that you trust with your prospect, with your third party, you will then be able to leverage that. And maybe they have a way of being persuasive that you're very comfortable with, but, and, oops, I just did something. What did I just do? Uh-oh. Hold on a second. I lost. Are you guys still there? Oh dear. What did I just do?
Yes.
Are you still there? Oh, jolly good. Let me see if I can find us again. I don't know what I just did. Oh, it sort of disappeared. Where are you guys?
We can see you.
You can?
Yes.
Why can't I see you anymore? Oh, okay. Here you are. It came back again. That was bizarre. Okay, please. It says, oh, if you want to keep this meeting open, please assign another host before you click leave meeting. I'm not leaving the meeting. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. Somebody came in and I wanted to admit them and maybe I just clicked something else. I think it's cameras, and let's hope that that will do it. I must have just clicked on something else by accident. Sorry, guys. So let's hear from you on any of those, all of those, or just your vision. What is your post-pandemic vision for our world, our beautiful, beautiful world? Who wants to jump in? Oh, Carol, you have to leave, sweetheart. Do you want to say something before you leave? Quickly? Yeah.
Well, my vision for a post-pandemic world is that we are free and that we are more compassionate and that we realize the depth of the gifts that we have with our planet Earth and with one another, and that we do choose to live in a healthy, vibrant way, and that we're building bridges of understanding with each other, that we're looking at different cultures, different races, different people, and seeing the light and the beauty in every single person and honoring them. So that's it.
Oh, I love that. It's beautiful, Carol. Thank you so much. We're going to go back and listen to that a few times. That's lovely. Thank you. I know you have to go, so be well. And thank you for being on, Carol. You're on mute right now, so okay. All right. I didn't put you on mute. You did it. But okay. Who else would like to just speak to any of that?
I've been looking at a lot of this because I've been calling it a hibernation because, and you do get to go out a little bit and you're conscientious of where you go out and affect it and such. But what am I not willing to take on again? What were the things that didn't serve me, or the rituals, or the, things that might have put me in a groove? I don't really like the word rut, but, kind of got into that. And it's like, I don't even know why I'm doing these certain things. And so it's like, okay, now I can recreate. Easter was a beautiful thing about resurrecting anew. For me, I did a couple of different things, and I listened to Marianne Williamson and a few different people, and very, very powerful about what to take on or what to release, to let go of, so that the new you can then emerge and take ownership. And one of the things about Louise Castula's call that was so powerful for me, that resonated, was the leaders of the future aren't the brilliant masters. They're the ones that are the most flexible, that can adapt. And so learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I think that that's been where I've been for a while. And I just think that it's beautiful. And I don't want to go back to certain things. I like jumping in here and being on meetings and presenting to people. And yes, we will get back to belly and such, but in a different way, and I've just thrown it all up. I call it throw it up the flagpole, and look to see what else am I taking back on, because I'm not taking back on everything. And I'm still in that quandary. And I think, and it's a beautiful thing that you proposed this question today, because I just think it's awesome. What is it that we are going to bring back or take ownership of to move forward? Not even go back, just what are you, what vibration are you on, and where are you in the realm of this whole world? And then yet the gift of Nikken. So we have all of it, who we are, and where we play. And I, like you've been connected with old friends and old people and dear friends, just to check in and say hey, and oh my gosh, time flies, but how great it is to hear your voice. And so a little bit of all of that, I think. And so I'm still in the quandary. So
I love it. Still in the questioning. It's a questioning time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Barbara. That's fantastic. Lorraine, were you going to pipe in?
Yes, and I think you have to do not buy into all the things that are out there that aren't comfortable or heavy feelings. And if you buy into everybody's opinion, you have to go within yourself. And I'm doing a lot of different things, like Barbara, listening to different things. I'm really doing a lot of things with access consciousness, and you just don't buy into this thing that's out there that's like a black cloud over our head. You just open that cloud, go out and look at nature, and just be with the rain. So not Lorraine, the rain.
And Lorraine.
It's just I just don't buy into it. And sometimes it's hard because you get all these things, on Facebook and all the things that are come at you, and you glance at the title and no, I'm going to go to here, not there. And I just try not to buy into the negativity and the heaviness of all the information that is quite, piled on us, and just be. So that's how I do things.
I think that's beautiful, Lorraine. It sort of reminds me of Ram Dass's book, Be Here Now. And yes, exactly. In fact, that little poem that I just put out with the video talks about that, just not rushing all the time, but just settling and being, because sometimes we're scared to just be. Isn't that strange? It feels like threatening somehow to just be. And we're taught to run, and we know we can run, but should we be running all the time? And for what are we running? If we are running, what are we running for? Is it the right thing? So yes, I totally agree with you. I think that's beautiful. So going within, this is a perfect time for going within. going deep, meditating, dreaming, paying attention to your dreams, just asking for guidance on, you know, how can I best serve during this pandemic? How can I best serve after this pandemic is over? What's my role in this world right now, right? Because we're all here for a reason. We know we're here at this time for a reason. So I think Lucy wants to say something.
Yes, I just had to guide my little boy because he had such a shaky and noisy toy. So I thought, just go up so I can talk. But you know what? Oh, this is such a huge question you proposed, and there's so much that you packed in. It's unbelievable. I need to listen to it because I need to just write notes. But I went into myself within from a mindset point of view. I had to really sort out my mindset.
Yes.
And I realized, okay, I'm pregnant again. I want to do this. I'm more busy than before because I've got no childcare. But you know what? If people want to make things happen, they always find a way. And we do, you know. And my world is not in balance. And I don't think it ever will be if you ever have children. There's no such a thing. I just had to admit that. But you know, once I actually threw that behind me, I feel a lot freer. I feel really excited about this time. I see it as very positive. I've been talking to people, and yes, some just turn into the negative, but I see it very positive. And I just decided, okay, I'm going to put only the positive out there, not ignoring what's happening, but just who I am. And as you said, some people will resonate with me, some will not. Yes. But I only want to work with those who actually see the light. Yeah. And want to do that. So, I mean, gosh, I could talk actually, because this is such a huge question. I could really say so much, but it's beautiful.
You and I have had some really deep connections recently, and it's been really profound for me also. So, you know, just really looking at why are we here, and what are we passionate about, and when you get to that depth of, you know, I don't like the way it is. I want to make a change and be a force of change. You know, you just, it's like your whole vibration shifts for all of us. I'm saying you, but us, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And I took this time, yes, we can't meet people in person, but you know what? The internet really serves me well. I love it. I found what really I enjoy doing. But there was one thing I wanted to say and I swallowed it. Oh, hold on. It is about sowing seeds. I learned that long ago, but actually now when I'm reconnecting with people and touching base with them and just dropping in, hey, this is what I do, you know, online business, working from home, or helping people. Because actually, for all of you who are listening, in the UK, I just talked to my friend who found me because he's more interested in Nikken products. He cannot get a referral because of what's going on, and his next appointment might be sometime in the next year. That's a long time. And even the GPs are now actually referring these ill people or health challenged people to find alternatives.
Wow.
And I thought, this is huge. We've never ever had that in the UK. So I'm super excited about that, because that gives me the power to actually reach out with very different energy with my words. And I thought, yep, it's just out there. So I think the strength in us is some of us, you know, I've been here with Nikken for 9 years, most of you much longer. But I feel because we've been consistently doing our work, people are going to take more notice of us, because we've just been, some companies and some people are just so pushy, it's disgusting. But because you know, how we are ethical and how we've been actually almost educated within Nikken how to do it, that's our strength. And now we are actually now flourishing, or becoming from a little, you know, caterpillar, a butterfly. That's how I see it, because it's our prime time now. But we've got to be still consistent and really sticking to our guns.
Yes, beautifully said, Lucy. And it is our time now. It absolutely is, and you got it. It's like by George, she's got it. You know, you got it. And when you got that energy, you know, you all know that's the magic. So now you know also you're wanted. I think for women it can be hard for us. We want to know that we're wanted and valued and that we're invited, and it's harder when we get the rejection because then we feel unwanted. It's very painful for us. It just is, and it is for men too probably, but maybe not to the same degree. You know, so to know that you're wanted and that, you know, gosh, if doctors are referring to alternatives, I mean, hallelujah, goodness gracious me, that's a dream come true right there. Having grown up in England and, you know, been very concerned about the medical profession when I was a little girl, you know, very concerned, going, something's not right here. And there's great things too. So super. Thank you, darling. I think Dee, you might have wanted to say something.
Yeah, thank you. Barbara, when you mentioned, you know, Easter resurrection, recreating, I remember years ago getting an Easter card from a friend and saying, writing in, may you continue to rise, which is all about resurrection. And I mean, so I think Nikken's philosophy, foundation, all of that is so supportive to us rising in the 5 pillars, you know, for ourselves, and then how we convey that so that others can begin to grasp what that could mean for them. And so when you talk about persuasiveness, I feel like, oh, that's a weak spot. It's always a growing edge. And, you know, when I think about influencing people, which fits with that for me, and when we, you know, confront people, often family members and stuff, who don't want to know about this, which is the hardest for me, then to not allow that to stop me from rising, or us from rising in what we know is so beneficial. And so that bottom truth of what nature has to teach us in the healing of nature now during this time, you know, in our air, in our rivers, in the abundance of nature, you know, Nikken knows nature heals. You know, that's always been part of why it was developed. And so this is such a big question that I'm sitting with and meditating on and journaling on and paying attention to dreams and having conversations with, you know, other groups that I'm in, a couple women's spiritual book groups that I'm in, that the hope for a better rising out of this outweighs the problematic potential of what is coming out of this, not negating the suffering that people are going through now with illness and death and job loss and all of that. Questions about, you know, how am I going to make it, you know, in a month if I don't have income, or whatever that people are asking, or that I can't be with loved ones as they're dying. All of that is so big. And yet the hope that overrides that, I just want to keep holding on to, because I think ultimately we will move to a better place. I just can't help but believe that, you know? And I think Nikken has supported this all along, and we have seen the good that has come out of it for ourselves and for others that we have worked with, that has to keep going. And you know, how are we present with each other and those we have yet to meet so that they can experience that hope if they're not in a hopeful place.
Yes. Yes. Beautifully said, Dee. Made me want to cry. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I want to cry now. And it's 8:20 in the morning. Things to do. But that was very, very powerful. And it makes, you know, Dave Johnson has always spoken about hope and that we bring people hope, you know, and we can't bring people hope unless we have hope, you know. So what you said is very profound. And, you know, I've been reading a book about prophecies, and, you know, pretty much all around the world, there was a prophecy of these times, and just different ways of saying it, but pretty similar, you know. And so we do kind of know we're born for this time. I really do feel that with Nikken, with everything I've ever done. I feel like now everything I've done is all making sense. Why I took all those years to study natural healing and everything, you know, is for now to bring people that hope. And so you said it so beautifully. So thank you. Thank you very much. God, I feel really emotional. I also don't want to take too much time. We started a little late, and I apologize for that, just because of the room numbers, the meeting numbers. But it's almost 8:25 my time, and we normally stop at 15:15, but we were about 10 minutes late starting. So is there anyone else who'd love to jump in before we complete? I don't want to leave anybody out. What's your vision, your post-pandemic vision for our world? Speak up. Anybody? Gloria?
Hello, Julie.
Yes. Is that
Can you
Karen
hear
Rose?
me?
Yeah. Is that Karen Rose?
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. I'm on my phone. For some reason on my computer, I can't hear. I don't have the audio, so I had to get the audio on my phone.
Okay.
I can see you, but I can talk on the phone. But I just wanted to say I totally agree with Dee, but a couple things that happened to me are a couple of people I gave a catalog at way back, quite a while back, and there's another person that I was working with way back. I introduced you to one of her people, Barbara Linsegura, and it's interesting that they're calling me, and these are people I haven't talked to in a long time. So that's very interesting that, I mean, I can remember giving this catalog back to her daughter called and said, you gave my mother a catalog. She's in Oregon. All of them are people that I really resonate with. So I'm really excited about that, because I have been struggling with keeping a higher vibration because of some of the challenges I've had, and then what's the challenges out in the world, which I agree it's good to know, but good not to plug into. So I've been working on that. But one of the things, I listened to your video. I love that video, The Day the Earth Stood Still. And I just love what you said in that video. And one of my favorite movies was the 1952 movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still. And I can remember at the very end of the movie, they rolled him he was shot and they brought him back to life. Michael Rennie, they brought him back to life, took him into the spaceship and brought him back to life. And they rolled him into an energy field. And that's what brought him back to life. And I can remember reviewing that movie again after I joined Nikken, and I thought, well, that's what we have. You know, we have this energy field. I mean, whether it would bring you back to life, obviously, but it was just, and so it reminded me of that when you shared that video. And the other thing is, when Isima Masuda passed, I really resonated with him, even though I never met him. It reminded me of why I joined Nikken. And so it was really, really important to go there, remember that, and work on my higher vibration, because I believe, like what you said, Julie, that we are here for a reason. I believe I connected with Nikken for a reason. I believe I connected to you for a reason. And now I have to really work on keeping my higher vibration and connecting to my vision, my truth, and why I'm doing this, and not get distracted, because it's easy to get distracted right now. So I'm really working on that. So I just wanted to share that.
That's beautiful. Absolutely. And you're not alone with that, Karen Rose. I think that's for all of us to practice diligently daily, keeping a high vibration. especially, you know, as Dee, you said, you know, the tragedy that's happening, and it's like, wow, you know, and we're all going through our own issues too. So, but you know, yes, this is Mr. Masuda brought hope. He had a vision. He brought it. We felt it. We grabbed it. We ran with it, and then you grab it and run with it too, like a relay race. Because you know, one person, you know, a few people can't run forever, so others have to, you know, come and catch the wind and go. And I think that's what's happening. So I think this is going to be very powerful for all of us. And I'm so grateful for this community, that we have each other and that we can call each other. You know, I chatted briefly with Barbara yesterday, and, you know, chat with Lucy quite a bit. And, you know, saw Barb Satterwhite on the, you know, the Williams thing the other day. I mean, it's just fantastic. You know, we have this fabulous community, and, you know, we're all interconnected and interdependent. So this is a good thing. And I know we need to go. I know I need to go. I'm sure you need to go. And yeah, thanks so much for being on. And, you know, I'll get this recording out. You know, I'm not that fast with it, but I will do it. And I promise you I'll put it up. And just be patient with me. And yeah, many blessings to all of you. I know we're all going through a lot. And I don't want to cry, but it's just it's not the easiest time, but it's like a birth canal. You know, birth isn't easy either. You know, we go through a birth canal and then we come out into a whole new world. And that's really what's happening for all of us together, collectively. So that's very powerful. Sometimes you're birthing alone, right? But right now we're all birthing together. Quite extraordinary, quite unprecedented, but very meant to be. You know, and I love you all, and thank you for being here, and talk to you next month and anytime in between, anytime that I can, and you reach out, I'm here. So so much love, and I'll let you all go to the rest of the beautiful day.
Thank you, Julie.
Bye,
Hug,
everybody.
hug, sweetie.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you so much.